Am I the asshole for tricking my brother into selling me his half of our childhood home then demolishing it? My mom and dad divorced when I was young. My brother loved the fact that our mom had no rules for him, so he went with her. I abided by the custody agreement because I had no choice in the matter. My mom loves us both, but she dotes on my brother like he farts perfume. My dad kept the house. He had to buy my mom out. It was an old house built in 1953. It had old wiring and was really less than suitable for modern life. What it did have though was a huge yard that was great growing up. My dad passed away during COVID. He left everything equally between my brother and I wanted the house. I told my brother that we should tear it down and put in infill housing like that neighborhood is zoned for. He just wanted money. I bought out his half of the house at the market value. It was sold as a teardown. He took the money and bought a car and went on a vacation. He still has money left. Then I had the house demolished and built a fourplex. Each unit has 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a small yard, and a garage. I kept one unit for myself and rent each of the other units for $2,000 a month. My mortgage is $1,800 a month for the entire thing. So basically I live free and bank $4,000 a month. My brother is pissed that I didn't give him a unit to live in for him since it was his home too. I actually offered to sell him one at cost and he said no. I'm lost. I offered him a partnership, I paid a fair price. I offered to sell him a unit. I did everything to try and be fair. He thinks I tricked him because I get free money every month. Our mom said she would be cutting me out of her will and giving everything to him if I didn't give him a unit or the income from one. I agreed that was fair and said that I would no longer feel the need to contribute to her upkeep or retirement when the time came. I am being bombarded by the two of them, but I took the risks. I took on the debt. This is my money now. Clearly not the asshole. Not the asshole. You bought his half of the house, you paid him, he wanted the money. His share of the money was spent buying cars and going on holiday, your share of the money was spent investing. He's just pissed and bitter because he made bad choices and you made better choices, and now he's acting like he is entitled to your good decisions because he's your brother. Also, mom is in the wrong for the heavy and outright blackmail ultimatum she put on you. Money really does bring out the bad in people. Let me get this straight. You bought out his share, put up your money to build this fourplex. He did not contribute a dime, yet wants you to give him an apartment rent-free? Not the asshole. Unless you accede to his greedy and entitled demands. You owe him nothing. It appears your mother's threat to write you out of her will won't bother you, and you've informed her of the consequences. Sorry, you have to put up with these people. You asked in at every step of the way. Not the asshole, and I love that you told your mom, cool, but now you are also on your own. Good job, and I do hope you follow through with that. It sounds like you treated him fairly and he was short-sighted, but you were so foolish to tell him the financial details. He'll always feel cheated. Am I the asshole for telling my wife her family needs to get a hotel next time they visit because of their kids? My wife, 36 female, and I, 35 m, have been married for 7 years and have a 5-year-old son. My wife has 4 siblings, 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Her brothers live far away and she isn't very close to them. Both her sisters live within 2 hours of us and the 3 of them are very close. Both of her sisters have 2 kids. Her youngest sister, Jen, 25F, has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Jen, her husband, and their kids came to visit us this past weekend for Memorial Day. We have 3 bedrooms in our house. Our master, our son's room, and a smaller guest room. My wife decided on her own that we would let Jen and her family have our bedroom. Apparently, Jen's kids aren't the best sleepers at home, and if they are in an unfamiliar place, it's even worse. So, my wife offered Jen our room so all of them can be in one room and my wife and I would sleep in the guest room. Turns out, that by bad sleepers, Jen meant that her kids wake up multiple times a night and then wake up for good at 5 a.m. every single day. I don't know about anyone else, but the last thing I want to do on a weekend is be woken up by a screaming baby at 5 a.m. 3 days in a row. It wasn't just the crying baby, but the fact that Jen and her husband would also be running around getting whatever the baby needed. The commotion woke our son up, who then woke my wife and I up. Every day at 5 a.m. I spent the entire weekend tired and cranky. To make things worse, Jen and her husband would take naps together whenever one of their kids was napping, which left my wife and I to watch their non-napping kid. I complained to my wife about being tired and she told me that her sister and brother-in-law need the rest more than we do because this is their life every day, so we should help them get at least a little bit of a break. But by the time Jen and her family left on Monday, all I wanted to do was sleep. Which I did, immediately after they left. My wife got upset with me for napping because our son was also tired and cranky and was fighting her on everything. She woke me up so that she could take a break. I later told her that next time her sister wants to come visit, they need to get a hotel because their kids' sleeping habits are clearly disruptive to our entire family. She told me that she isn't going to tell her sister to fork out hundreds for a hotel room when we have the space for them in our house. She also said that Jen's kids will become better sleepers as they get older. I told her that every decision she is making prioritizes her sister over me and our son, and she got defensive and told me I'm being a jerk. Maybe I'm far enough removed from the baby stage that I blocked it out, but I don't remember ever being so disruptive to anyone when we were guests in their house. They are supposed to come visit us again for the 4th of July and I'm already dreading it. Not the asshole. If they live less than 2 away, they don't really need to be staying multiple nights so often. If your wife insists on playing babysitter for her sister, then 4th of July sounds like a great weekend for you and your son to visit your family or friends. Not the asshole. Tell your wife that either her family can get a hotel, or you'll get a hotel room for you and the kiddo. Y'all deserve sleep too. Okay, but you don't have room for them. You had to give up your room and sleep in the guest room. If she insists, tell her that next visit, you aren't babysitting the non-napping kid. If she wants to torture herself to help her sister, she can. But you won't. If she wants to push it, tell her that you and son will be staying at a hotel and her and sis can have a nice weekend since sis is apparently her priority. You and kiddo can have a fun daddy-son weekend. Not the asshole. I had one who wasn't a good sleeper. We did not inflict her on other households. We got a hotel room or didn't visit. Yes, they will learn to be better sleepers, but it's so rude to expect an entire household to be held hostage by disruptive young ones who are visiting. Hell no. Nobody is staying in my bedroom except us. No fucking body. Not the asshole. If she wants to provide free babysitting, maybe she can go visit them in their house instead. You should not have to give up your room and your bed. Them getting a hotel is a good compromise. I say if she persists, her family visits are a good time to take a weekend trip with your son. Maybe visit your family. Am I the asshole for ordering from a kid's menu while being invited out to celebrate my brother-in-law birthday? Throw away, as I don't want my main to be tracked. I, 29 female, have been invited to celebrate my brother-in-law birthday to a sushi restaurant alongside with my partner. The birthday dinner was last weekend and there was no way for me to decline or avoid it. Now I am intolerant to fish and seafood, so I am trying to avoid eating anything containing those, and as you can imagine it is rather hard to avoid at a sushi restaurant. The restaurant has other options like chicken katsu curry and different chicken dishes, but they are all a part of kids' menu. Normal adult menu only had different types of sushi. So I ordered from the kids' menu and also said I am cool paying an adult price for the dish. The waiter was trying to refuse after a brief explanation behind the reasoning. They had no problem in serving me something from the kids' menu. Because of this I had a lot of weird looks, especially from my sister-in-law, who later confronted me saying what I did was a bit selfish and assholish since I was invited for sushi and since she was trying to convince her children to eat more adult food, poke bowl, and one have ruined it. My partner is on my side, however some other family members believe I should have sucked it up and ate the sushi. Not the asshole. I would love to hear her explanation as to how the heck this was selfish. Can't you just get sick? Die so I don't have to explain free will to my children? I think their offense is fishy and you are not shellfish in the slightest. I can't wasabi the issue. When you look at a menu you want to seafood you want to eat. You saw something on the kids' menu you fancied and ordered it. The restaurant served the food, it's all good. Not the asshole, and I hope you enjoyed your meal. Not the asshole. Why do people make an issue of other people's food choices? It's so bizarre to me. Everyone has their own preferences, and it's not unusual for someone to have an aversion to fish.
There was another option available, so you took it. Seems like the thing to do.
Would they have preferred for you to sit there and not eat or make a big deal about how you don't like fish? Edit, typo fix. Not the asshole. I have celiacs and can't eat gluten, so when people are flippant about my food restrictions, I just say, well, I don't want to shit my pants all night, Sharon. And that shuts them up pretty quickly, lol. I don't want all these commenters need to interrogate you on why you don't eat fish.
It doesn't matter. If you don't like fish because a giant prawn came to you in a dream once, that's enough reason.
You ate what you wanted. Parents need to be able to parent their children despite outside influences like, gasp, people eating what they want. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, you are not obligated to eat something you're allergic to. It is not selfish to choose not to make yourself ill. Am I the asshole for telling my stepmother she's embarrassing herself?
My father and my stepmother have been together for a little over a decade. I'll call her Nikki. She didn't move in with him until years after I had moved out, so I've never been close with her. I don't actually call her stepmother.
To be honest, Nikki annoys me. She is childish and naive in ways that often feel forced. She'll speak in a high-pitched voice and replace random words with a baby version of them. Think, boo-boo, and wee-wee. I'm always nice to her, of course, but I don't like being around her for long. I didn't dislike her at first, but when my kids, 6M and 3F, were born, Nikki's antics almost immediately went up to 11. Whenever she's around them, she acts either younger or the same age as them. I can never tell whether she's trying to get their attention or my father's, but it's gotten to the point that my husband and I try to minimize contact between her and our children. My daughter's third birthday party took place about a week ago, and both my dad and Nikki came. At one point, I noticed that rather than take a seat at the tables like the other adults, Nikki was walking around talking to the kids. It was odd, but no one seemed bothered, so I didn't do anything about it. Half an hour later, my 5-year-old goddaughter came up to me and asked why there was a lady talking like a baby. She told me she was scary, and that she didn't want to play with the other kids while she was around. I went up to Nikki and suggested that she sit down. I explained that the kids wanted to play by themselves, and that having an adult around like that would bother them. She seemed fine with it. Sometime later, my daughter ran to me crying. She said Nikki wasn't letting her play with her friends. At that, my husband and I pulled Nikki aside. From what I gathered, the girls were trying to play princesses and she was trying to dictate who everyone should be. We told Nikki, once again, to take a seat and leave the kids alone. She tried to argue with us, saying she was only trying to make sure they were having fun. I replied, they aren't. You're not a child, they don't want to play with you. I know you meant well, but you're embarrassing yourself, so please sit down and stop bothering them. She stood there for a few seconds before she took a seat next to my father. The party continued without issue. I later found out that at least 3 of the other kids had also complained to their parents, but they didn't tell me. One of them figured Nikki was an entertainer I'd hired. A couple days later, my father called and told me off for how I'd treated his wife. He says that Nikki is heartbroken, and that I was extremely rude when she just wanted to play with the kids. I reminded him that the children didn't want to be around her, but he's still insisting I apologize. My husband told me that someone had to do something, as the kids were upset. I feel like this is a dumb issue, but I can't help but feel like I might have acted rudely. Am I the asshole? Here's the apology. Nikki, I am sorry that you can't seem to get over the fact that you aren't a child anymore and need to act like an adult. The kids didn't want to play with you and that was fine. It hurt your feelings. Well, it's time to grow up and realize your feelings aren't mine or anyone else's responsibility other than your own. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, you were too kind, patient. Why would you feel bad about an infantile idiot getting upset with you? Tell your dad he has a spouse problem and he should work on that without bothering you. Oh, he can't work on that because she is an infantile idiot, so he'll bother you instead. Not the asshole, and the only one who owes anyone an apology is Nikki to you and your husband for not listening. She seems very self-centered and only cares what she wants. Not what you want for your daughter and the party. And not for the kids who Nikki wants to control how they want to play. The only person who was rude was Nikki. And now she feels entitled to an apology because you wouldn't let her control the kids and annoy them. Not the asshole, even a 5-year-old saw right through Nikki's ridiculous useless act. Not the asshole.
She's dictating the children's play. Get that lady away from your kids.
Not the asshole. Maybe inform your father about the children's entertainer comment. That should be a wake-up call regarding her behavior in public.